Alright, this is the 89 GMC Jimmy S15 truck. Removing the upper ball joint right now. First I took that castle nut off right there. Had to use a monkey wrench on it, adjustable, and a big one. This guy right here, the 12 incher. To get that one off, and I had to spray it pretty heavy with some penetrator on it to get it off. Well, I got it off, and then in order to get the upper ball joint off, I stick the pickle fork in right there, and then I take the air hammer gun, this guy right here, and then I put it underneath the arm of the pickle fork, drill in, boom, it popped right off. So easy. Just hit that pickle fork in a couple times, got it tight in there, held it in place, used the air hammer to drill it out, and it popped right out really easily. Alright, the next fun game was getting the rivets out of the upper ball joint. This 2x4 right here worked as a really good wedge for me to hold it in place because this has some play up and down. The best way that I found to do this, straight out of the Haynes book, was to drill, take an 1/8 inch, drill it a 1/4 way down into the rivet, and then take a 1/2 inch and drill into the head right here and remove the head. I didn't have a 1/2 inch, so I used the next smaller down that I could, and then I ended up having to take a chisel and remove the head right there, and it was much easier after I drilled it out. Drilled the center out, way easier to use a chisel. We tried using the circular saw, but I think it creates a lip there that gets caught, and it made it really difficult to remove the rivets. So drill down, then drill off the head of the rivet, and then from there use a chisel, knock the rest of the head off. It comes off, and from here you use the air hammer to knock it out, pressing down, and you've got the hole there started nicely for you. So the air hammer has something to sit into, and it should pop right out. In a case where we have very difficult ball joints with very difficult rivets, it worked very easily. Alright, the next game is installing the new upper ball joint. We got it set in there, and we use the drill bits to lock in the location of the ball joint to the original position, and then you're going to have to go through and tighten these locking nuts down. After that, we're going to use the puller to take off the whole hub assembly there and put it off to the side. Alright, we got the lower ball joint in already, but to remove that one, I drill down the 1/8 inch, same as the top, drill bit down, and then use the bigger one, a 1/2 inch, and grind that rivet down. You can use a chisel if you need to remove the rest of it. On the bottom one, I had to do the bottom also. I just chiseled it by hand, but it'd probably be much easier to just get a nice size drill bit that will drill out as much of the head of the rivet as possible. And if you have to graduate up, do that. But then when you go under to chisel out the rest of the rivet, it will be much easier to remove. I had to remove those to get them out for some reason. Even when I pop off the top, it will not press, the rivet will not come out by using the air hammer. So once I remove the bottom rivets, then I use the air hammer, they popped right out. Same on both sides, old truck. We pulled off the knuckle over here after we use the puller. Make sure the castle nut's off the bottom. Use a puller, pull it out. This guy, one person could do it, just pull it out, move this guy to the side. You're gonna see it's gonna have to drop down quite a bit for you to get this out. And then pull it off, put it off to the side over here, and then we strap this guy up. Next, installing the lower ball joint. Just goes underneath. Inside, the Zerg fitting was kind of pain in the butt. It was really tight up against the shell right there, and it was kind of a pain to get these nuts and bolts in here, but we got them in there. It wasn't that big of a deal. One of them we had to wait until we compressed the other 3 to get that one to bite. So that was the only weird thing there. Now it's looking like it's almost ready to go back together once we finish tightening down all of the nuts and screws there, and then we'll begin to reassemble. One thing I forgot to mention, same as the upper ball joint, to remove it. The ball joint, it was very difficult after we take the castle nut off. Stick a pickle fork in there, hammer it in. Just find the right angle. I'm pretty sure I just kind of went straight from the side here, something like that. And then from the other side, I used the air hammer underneath the pickle fork. Nothing else would work. It doesn't just drop out. 2 pickle forks doesn't work. Wrenching, prying, hammering, nothing worked. We just stick the pickle fork in and then the air hammer on the other side, and then it pops right out. Alright, now that we got the lower ball joint installed, we bring the knuckle over and slip this guy in. It really helps to take off the dust plate and all that to get it back in. You swing it back over, set this thing through the hole there, put this around the bottom of the ball joint right there, set it through, and then you'll be able to set this properly into place. I had to kind of pull this guy to the side to get it to fall in.
And then the back plates, the nuts are going to be on the back right here, here, and up here.
Yep. Alright, now we're going to jack up the bottom of the control arm to get it to sit, the top ball joint, to get the top ball joint to sit into the knuckle where it's supposed to go. And you can just keep pressing it on up and it'll go right into place. Alright, we got the hub assembly back together with the dust cover pan, and the bolts come through the back, and they are kind of a struggle to get in, but not too bad. You can use a socket at first, and then you're going to want to switch over to a wrench. It's the 18mm back there. And then once you get that assembly back on, we're going to do the washer and the nut, boom, and then the cover goes on, and then the pin goes back in, and then we can play the next game. Alright, we got our cotter pin in. Make sure they're in on the ball joints also, and then put the rotor back on, caliper pins, brake pads, and then we'll throw the tire on and we're done.